It is a process defined by law. These men and women in my office will continue to follow the law and count every legal vote. As it stands today, 97 counties have sent their final numbers in. The current margin stands at 14,111 between the President and Senator Biden, Vice President Biden. My office will continue to investigate each and every instance of illegal voting. Double voting, felon voting, people voting out of state. If you report it, we will investigate it. Every legal vote will count. We will continue to follow and enforce the law. Now let's look at the next steps. We are currently looking at having a statewide runoff on December 1 and another on January 5th. This is an untenable situation for these men and women to try and run both of these elections. With that, under my powers under a health emergency, I am moving the date of the December 1st election to coincide with the federal runoff on January 5th. This will protect the integrity of both elections and make for better election administration. It has the added benefit of saving taxpayers millions of dollars. The reason we have so many of these on rollover list voters is a direct function of COVID. This is the reality. The next step in the current election process is getting the final county certifications in. We'll then move to the risk limiting audit, or RLA. At 1 p.m. today, I will make the official designation of which race will be the subject of the RLA. At that time, I will designate that the RLA will be the presidential race. With the margin being so close, it will require a full by-hand recount in each county. This will help build confidence. It will be an audit, a recount, and a recanvass all at once. It will be a heavy lift, but we will work with the counties to get this done in time for our state certification. Many of these workers will be working plenty of overtime. We have all worked hard to bring fair and accurate counts to assure that the will of the voters is reflected in the final count and that every voter will have confidence in the outcome whether their candidate won or lost. Thank you for coming today. Do we have any questions? Well, because we now have that verifiable paper ballot, for the first time in 18 years, we're going to have something to count instead of just pressing a button and getting the same answer. So we'll be counting every single piece of paper, every single ballot, every single lawfully cast legal ballot. That will be the names that are on the ballot, whoever they voted for president, the English written word. Yes, we will. As I said, people will be working lots of overtime next coming week. Lots of people will be really pleased with those paychecks if they're getting overtime. That'll be coming out of, we'll determine at some point, adding additional workers. We will probably have to augment that, and we'll be looking at that, and that'll be the election directors at each county will be able, they'll actually handle their own additional, or their own county recount or risk limiting audit county by county.
Is this how this audit was designed to work? I thought originally it was supposed to be looking at a small segment of the votes.
Yeah. Well, that's what's really interesting when you start really digging into probability theorem. When you have 5 million votes and the margin is so close, 14,000, if we pulled out 10,000 votes, all of a sudden it could say, well, this is the person that won. We pull out 100,000, it says this person won. We pull out 1 million, this person won. And that's why mathematically you actually have to do a full hand-by-hand recount of all because the margin is so close. Right now it's 14,101. So it's really just the mathematics, the statistics, the probability theorems that we use for the risk limiting that are taking us to that extent. So if it was another race or you didn't have that such a close thing, then you could do that and it would just be a sample size. But you can't do that when it's that close. This race has national significance, national importance. We get that. We understand that. We do. We follow the process, and we understand the significance of this for not just Georgia, but for every single American. At the end of the day, when we do a hand count, then we can answer the question exactly what was the final margin in this race. Yes, ma'am. Oh, absolutely. Well, we've been open and transparent. In fact, we've had multiple meetings like this, meeting with the press. Gabriel Sterling, our implementation manager, has come out to talk to you, really digging into the weeds. If you have any information about illegal voting or voter fraud, bring that to our attention. We will investigate every case that we hear. I'm hearing that that just came out this morning. We'll look at those records and we'll start digging into that. It really is what the numbers take us to, and we're following the process that would drive us to that, that's in current state law. You're asking me to make predictions, and what we're going to deal is in facts. And so I'll report the facts, and then I'll get up my calculator and I'll get that back to you. I can't do that off the cuff. Thank you. That's a good question, but after it is certified, the candidate that is within 0.5%, I believe, would still be entitled to a recount, but that would be a scanned recount just because of that is what is in state law. Yes, sir. We're going to continue to work with the counties and all that, but that's their deadline. And that is the process that we have in place. And we've had great cooperation and dedication from the county election officials. That's why we have so many here. We have professionals out there. And at the end of the day, I know that I haven't asked them, but I know that there's some folks back here that maybe vote this way and other folks that vote that way, and some go this way, that way on different elections. At the end of the day, though, they're following a process. And then what they want is they never want you to be able to question their integrity. And that's what we want for everyone to understand, that we're following a process. Integrity still matters. We'll continue with every county that we have, and if there's some that are still buttoning it up, then we'll roll to that. Hopefully that's the smaller counties. It'll take every bit of the time that we have left, for sure. It's a big lift. Our date is November 20th. Statistically, because of where we are there, we have a team of people, national experts that have worked on risk limiting audits in several other states. They're part of our team. This is not just a decision we made unilaterally. We reached out to these experts. We've been working with them for several months, and we just follow the science of a risk limiting audit. We follow the numbers, and that's where it leads us to count every single ballot by hand. No, they're still required. We want them here by Friday at the latest. We have 97 counties already. I'll talk to legal about that, but we want to start this really before the week is up, because we understand there's an awful lot to do. Yes, sir.
This is a little repetitive. Could you elaborate again on the timeline of the audit and what is going to be counted exactly?
The ballot that you had, whether it was an absentee ballot if you sent that in, or if it was voted by in person like I did, we'll look at that ballot, and someone's going to look at who did you want, and they're just going to go through that, and you'll have two people that are doing all the counting. They'll put them out and just in stacks and make sure that the stack has, let's say, 1,000 ballots, and then you look at the end, you had 501 for this person, 499 for that one. You just keep on rolling through, and that's how it's going to be all the way through, and you're going to tally it all up. It's a big process. It'll be a methodical process, and it'll be an accurate process. And I'm sure that there'll be plenty of oversight. We want to make sure that both parties have the opportunity to observe this because we understand the stakes are high. I don't really know, and we do what we do in Georgia. We follow our laws. And every state is 50 states, 50 different election laws.
What do you do if these hand counts don't match the computer counts? Do you count again?
No, that would then become the risk-limit audit and becomes a full recount, and that is what we're going to be certifying on November 20th. So thank you very much. That'll be what we certify because that'll be the last count, and that'll be the most accurate count. That'll be the paper ballot count. Well, it is actually an audit. It's all in one. It's an audit, a recanvass, and a recount all in one because it'll be just really a process that gets it all. Yeah. Well, what many people aren't aware of is that where we are in the process right now in our counting, we're in the same place that Florida is, North Carolina, and Texas. The thing is, in those races, it's not real close. In our case, there's 14,101 votes right now that separate the top versus number two. And so therefore, all eyes have focused on that, and that's really why you're seeing that. But the other states are still out there tabulating their absentee ballots. Thank you for bringing that up. That's still going on. The 5th District is not affected by what we're doing here.
Secretary, as you know, the Republican Party is saying that a lot of Republican voters and Trump supporters in particular do not trust the election results. It's not the matching the person to the computer scan. It's did dead people vote? Did the mail service, did employees from the postal service steal the election? How will you remedy that in counting the vote? I mean, are you going to call citizens who voted and say and ask, did you vote for this person? Is this person alive in your family? How do you remedy those accusations? How do you get to the bottom of the matter?
Well, number one, I am not the Postmaster General. We have no control over the Federal Postal Service. So when people mail their ballots back, it's then under federal government control and the federal, post office, postal service. Once it gets to the counties, then that's when the counties, have handled that. Through this process, we believe that, and we know that the machines are correct, and what you're going to find, we believe, in the count. As it relates to dead people and other, forms of illegal voting, that's why we've asked for, if you know of a case of illegal voting or suspected illegal voting, bring that to us. Anecdotes and stories doesn't work. We need something that we can actually investigate. I'm actually very grateful that Attorney General Barr, I respect that man. This is his second round as being Attorney General of the United States of America, and he is a calm, very thorough attorney, and he's directed his U.S. attorneys to look for things. And the one thing that the federal government does have is resources that we don't have. And so if they can find something that we can't, that can help to bring to bear, we want to make sure that the only people that vote are legal voters.